Yes, guys, you know what time it is. It's your boy David at the Irish Hotspur, Ireland's #1 Spurs fan, bringing you a review and probably just end up in a rant on today's game and, you know, all the situations surrounding today's game. We're joined by special guest Cody Mack. How are you keeping, my man?
Yeah, I'm all right. You know, you can't really be too disappointed when you lose to a better side. It's just the context in which the losses are starting to pile up. You know, it looks like the season's starting to snowball, but yeah, I'm all right.
Yeah, look, it's a hard one to take. How are you keeping, Scotty? Scotty from the Chicken Ball Pod.
Yeah, right there with you. I mean, I think, you know, the manner in which we've continued to drop points has been so consistent that it's becoming less impactful, you know, emotionally for me when it happens or whatever. I'm almost just kind of numb to it at this point. Kind of just ready for the season to be over, ready for that League Cup final and you know, and ready to move on. But, you know, could be worse.
Yeah. So. I'm the same. Well, look, first of all, let's get through a few formalities. Look, make sure you smash a like on the stream. Make sure you smash a subscribe on the channel. Get your super chats in. They really do help the channel grow. And, you know, of course, we stop exactly what we're talking about, discuss your point. And also, you know, grab yourself a channel membership for the phone-in show every Friday. Might actually host an extra one this week, you know, just to get everyone's thoughts and everything on what's going on around the club. But look, we'll get into it. I'm going to start with you, Cody. Look, what do you make of today's game, first and foremost?
Well, you know, it looked like we were after it early on. You know, it looked like the team was going to show a little bit of fight, a little bit of passion. We were controlling a lot of the ball. United didn't seem that interested. You know, we got a little bit lucky, I thought, with the VAR call. I think it's clear foul. You know, it poked him in the eye and everything. But yeah, if that hadn't have been disallowed, I don't think we would have really been outraged, you know. Probably Man United fans more outraged than we would have been, the fact that it was disallowed. So, and then, yeah, you know, we get into the second half and it just seems like the air came out of our tires, you know, and then first substitution, Moussa Sissoko, basically, I was ready to turn the game off. I mean, I didn't understand it at the time.
Yeah.
You know, obviously Eric Dyer starting was a little bit of a contentious point, and it kind of goes to show that we probably have seen the last of Toby. You know, I just don't – and I know I've been on about the Toby is the mole thing. Whether or not he's the mole, there's clearly something that's not right between him and the manager, and we can see starting to cost us games. But I don't really think that Toby Alderweireld wins us the game today, you know. Like, I thought we were beaten by a better side. They showed their class. They scored some beautiful goals. And, yeah, it's just a tough day because it's all kind of coming undone. And it's a snowball effect. And every successive loss and setback that we seem to suffer, it just seems to get worse and worse. Like the darkness is kind of closing in on – I mean, the season looks to be lost at this point if we're being serious.
Yeah. No, 100%. I fully agree with you. And Scotty, we'll get your opinions on it, and then we're going to welcome a few people to the stream.
Yeah, honestly, I echo a lot of what Cody said. I thought we were definitely beaten by a better side. I'll tell you, Pogba, Fred, and McTominay, it's a hell of a midfield. They've really got that figured out. I called yesterday on your stream. I wanted a back line of Serge, Toby, Sanchez, Reguilon, and that's just strictly based on data and you know, the most points gained. I wasn't happy that we didn't see that. Like Cody, I don't think that Toby, you know, gets the result for us today at all. But I would have liked to have seen what would happen if him and Sanchez were the pairing. And I know Sanchez has been polarizing, but alongside, like we said yesterday, a stable, mature head, he does pretty well. So, you know, I think we maybe missed there, but ultimately, this is exactly what I expected. I mean, if you look at the stats floating all over Twitter today, when you look at teams, if there was a table for teams that scored first and took leads into halftime, we're second. And if there's a table for teams that drop points from a winning position and concede in the last 10 minutes, we're 19th and 20th place in the league in those two categories. And so that's it right there. For some reason, we cannot connect the second half to the first half. I think a lot of it's personnel. Like, again, Sissoko was not a great substitution. I really don't know what option he had, though, other than to play Lo Celso for a full 90 minutes, which I don't think he was able to do today. So I think a lot of that goes on the board. But I think we've talked about on the show, it's like a pie chart, right? Players, manager, board. I still think the board shares the largest responsibility of blame on that pie chart, followed by the players, followed by Mourinho. But we got a mess at the club, and it's going to be a quite a journey to get back to where we need to be.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely shambolic. And look, regardless of manager in, manager out, don't care at this stage. Enic, that's who I'm coming for now.
Man.
I'm fed up, and it's up to them to fix this. But look, let's welcome a few people in the building. You have Carlos Blanco, big up Carlos Blanco, Tua Kippel, Mr. Edwardson, big up Mr. Edwardson. We also have Alan O'Flynn, AK Gaming. We have Sue Smith, big up Sue Smith. How are you keeping? We have C, he says Enic out. We have Joe Sarker. We have Joseph Cattle. We also have Jordan Stevens. Big up Jordan Stevens. I hope you keep him well, my man. ATM Nerd. John Fitzpatrick. Big up, John. Michael Bennett. Big yourself up, Michael Bennett. We have Terry Bishop in the house. Big up, Terry. Who else have we got? We've got What's the Story? Big up the old lad. He says, what is our style of play? What is our identity under Mourinho? Can anybody tell me? Lads, any of you want to tell him?
I don't know if I have an answer to that question, to be completely honest.
Yeah, no, I'm the same.
It's just we don't have the personnel capable of implementing Jose's plan. He's the kind of manager who can take a good or a great player and increase them to an elite world-class player. Look at what he's done with Harry Kane. Look at what he's done. Him and Son having his best year, and that's even with a poor stretch. We're asking a baker to make bread without flour right now, so it's hard to say. But we do definitely look disorganized, and you have to wonder if a different manager could be getting better out of the current squad. But that wouldn't really fix anything, because I think that we're not that far away from what we're capable of. The reality is we're just not good. We're just not good, and we showed that today.
No, we're absolutely shit. We are diabolical at the minute. We are in dire straits. And the BG here says, just can't work out how Sissoko got on before Bale. Look, I think it was trying to get a foothold in the middle. We stopped running. The Celso stopped running, and then Bale was tired. I think that was the case. But yeah, no, fair point. Big up Wayne Bonner as well. He says, I fell asleep within the first 10 minutes of the game. What was our performance like? Did we deserve to lose? Yeah, on the second half, man, we fully deserved to lose. I'm not going to hide away from the fact. Big up Dtrex Kane as well. We just have another super chat to get to here. I want to big up Rob C. Rob C is in the building. Big up Robbie. And I want to big up new channel member as well, William McKenzie. Big up, William. Thanks for tuning in, lads, at this dour times, to be honest. And we have Van Shitty. He says, next season, 1, sack Jose, rebuild team, wait a couple of years for result. 2, back Jose, wait and see a couple of months and decide which you vote for. And we'll start with you, Brian, then we'll ask Scotty, and then we'll come back to me. And everyone else, sorry, quickly, just get your super chats in. It's I presume the chat's going to be flying on this one today. Everyone has opinions. I'm going to try and get all your comments up. You know that, guys. But just when the chat is flying, super chats do unfortunately take priority. And, we stop exactly what we're talking about to answer your questions. But Mr. Cody, what are you going to go with? 1 or 2?
Well, I mean, I would still back Jose at this point, but the thing is, when I was on We Are Tottenham TV, the brothers Daniel there had a interesting point to make about that, and that is when things go toxic under a Jose Mourinho tenure, they've never gotten back up. It's not like he goes through these ups and downs. It's always like way up high and then way down low, and then that's the end. He flames out. It's like when you're driving down the Autobahn in a Lamborghini and you're hammered, like it's fun while you're riding it, but when you crash, you completely crash and burn. So I still think that we're closer to success with Jose if we just got proper investment. Man, it's tough because really when you look at the culture of our club, and I've said this before, just some of the players that we've missed out on, the Jack Grealish, Ruben Diaz, Skriniar, who's to say that those players wouldn't have come here and just been fucking poisoned by the culture of our club? Who's to say that they wouldn't be doing the same thing that we're seeing? Like Steven Bergwijn wasn't even in the squad today. And so it's really hard. It's really hard. I don't know. That's 2 shitty options. Like I'm starting to think that it's broken beyond repair and that Kane and Son are a part of that. Sad to say. I'm not putting it on them. we've been close to success with them, but the reality is we've never gotten over the line, and they are a part of our culture. So maybe it is time to just press the reset button, turn it off, turn it on again, start the youth movement, and move forward. But yeah, I mean, my heart says back Jose, my head says sack him.
Yeah, 100%. Scotty, why you going with one or two?
It's two for me. And not that I'm disgusted by the first option by any means. I do see value there, but I think we all knew when Jose came in that it seemed like we were putting a square into a round hole. I think we all felt that way because Jose needs back. Jose is the type of guy who needs to, like Cody said, take really good players and make them world class. He also needs a group of guys who I think are a little more mature in the sense that how do I put this? So I think the idea here is, and this is a conversation that's going around socials a lot right now. The modern player, the modern game, social media, agents, players have a lot more control than they did, back in the 90s and early 2000s, even 2008 to like 12 or 13. Jose, it's really important for him to have a locker room that's tight, concise, really closed off, and that's hard to accomplish in the modern world. Jose's going after. We see links to like Marion Fellaini right now, those types of guys, and I think that's because Jose's trying to find some older, more mature heads who can come in and like help him establish that, if that makes any sense. But the issue here is that either Jose needs to be backed or he has to go. And I'm just concerned, as we all are, because Enic does not back their managers ever. They will not, And I think there's been times where that's maybe been okay. Like Jose's been given a little bit of a longer leash than other managers, I think, up to this point under Enic. Yeah. But every other manager under Enic combined have one trophy, literally one trophy, all of them combined. And Jose did 300% of that in his last job at Man United, right? So I think if we're going to give anybody a longer leash, it's probably him for those reasons and themselves. But but like Cody said, they're both shitty options. I'm going to say two. I'm calling for Enic to back Jose and get us over the line, because I said it yesterday. I just don't have the heart for another rebuild. I've been through too many of them as a Spurs fan, and I don't want to wait another 3 or 4 years.
I think you speak for many on the heart of another rebuild, another 3-4 year plan. But honestly, I just think it's what's staring us in the face. Look, in an ideal world, I'd go with number 2. Probably right now, I probably will go number 2. But look, I'm with Cody. My heart's telling me number 2. My head's telling me number 1. Big up Matty Hayes. Matty Hayes is in the building. Big up, Matt. If you do want to come on, Matty, I'll get Cody to send you on the link via Twitter there if you want to come on, man. Jordan Stevens says here, want the season over, becoming numb to this crap, wasting our breath ranting about this team. Yes, United are better, but it's the manner of the loss. Look, Jordan, 100% agree with you, man. It's a tough one to take. There was no running, there was no anything, and it's just become unbearable at this point. Look, I think we're all slowly losing our joy for football at this moment in time right now. I think I speak for everybody on that. You know what I mean? The enjoyment's just being sucked out of it by the board, by the players, and by Jose, by everybody. Wayne Bonner says here, did you see any positives in the game for the rest of the season? What were the players' attitudes like? Positives in the game. Look, first half positive, I suppose, but after that, it just went downhill. What were the players' attitudes like? Very poor in the second half, I must say, lads. What do you think?
Well, I thought our attitudes were actually good at first. It seemed like maybe when Man United tried to insert themselves into the game a little more aggressively, that we kind of rolled over a little bit. I mean, in terms of positives for the rest of the season, I thought Sonny looked more like himself on the pitch. Very disappointing what happened with him and the racist comments. I haven't seen them, but I've heard. And we can't stand for that kind of stuff. Something's got to change. But other positives, I thought Joe Rodon looked really good. I thought he saved a goal or two here and there, and he was solid. I don't know. Not much outside of that, really.
Yeah. No, 100%. Big up Oscar Bell. Oscar Bell's in the building. Sorry, do you want to say something there, Scotty?
No. Honestly, I don't have much to say that's not going to be a repeat of what Cody just said. I completely agree.
No worries, no worries. Big up Wayne Bonner for the super chat, though, my man. I really do appreciate it. Lads, and let's welcome Matty Hayes into the building. Matty, how are
Hey,
you
there he
after
is.
today's shambolic results and disaster class? Where are
Well,
you at
good to
right
see all
now?
of you. Good to see all
Yeah,
of you,
cheers.
Scott, Cody. Thanks
You
for
as
having me on,
well.
David. It's tough, isn't it? Look. I haven't been supporting Spurs for very long, so it's not really a feeling I know all too well. You know, as they were under Villas-Boas and Sherwood and all that, but I suppose we didn't really have the experience and the joy of what we went through under Mauricio Pochettino, and to see that decline quickly. And today just feels like it feels like more than a defeat. It feels like more than just a game against a team who have probably, looking at the table, been the second best team in England this season. It's the manner of the defeat that we saw, that we're seeing all season. It's the lack of effort from the players, the toxicity in the press by Jose. I think everything is coming to the fore for Spurs right now, and this feels like a big turning point for the club, and definitely not in a positive direction. So it's tough to bring any positivity or anything other than just fear, I suppose, into the mix right now.
Yeah, it's look, to be honest with you, I'm actually confused at the whole situation right now. I don't know what direction the club is pulling in. I don't know what direction the club want to go in. Do they have the money to go in whatever direction they want to go in? Are we just screwed? Are we in for what, like, quicker into the process than what Arsenal are? It's very confusing. But lads, look, we're just going to get straight into it. Is Kane going in the summer? Is Kane out here? Is he jumping ship? We'll start with Cody, and then we'll go to Scotty, and then back to Matty.
I think it's a bit of a coin toss right now because market conditions are not conducive to selling a player of Kane's caliber, especially given the fact that, if Daniel Levy's not going to let Dele Alli leave on loan, you can be sure that he's going to fight like hell to keep Harry Kane at this club. The question is, the cards are kind of in Harry Kane's hands. He's going to have to be the one who decides. If he decides that he's done, then we could definitely be seeing him get sold, But Levy's not going to sell him on the cheap, so maybe he goes up for sale, and then we don't end up with any takers. I don't even know if Levy would sell to anybody else in the Premier League, And I think Harry Kane wants to stay in the Premier League. But how I'm approaching it is, I am looking at the rest of this season as Harry Kane's last in the Spurs shirt. It's his last season for the Lily Whites, and I'm going to drink in every last performance that we can get, because no matter what goes on in terms of results and scores and effort on the other players' behalf, we're always going to get the best effort out of Harry Kane. He's always going to give it up for the club. He's an absolute Premier League legend, and we have been more than blessed to have the pleasure of watching him over the years. He's one of the best Premier League players of all time already. So we've been very fortunate to have him. I wish him well if he wants to leave, and I wouldn't stop him. But yeah, it's a coin toss whether or not he goes. I couldn't blame him if he wanted to.
No, you couldn't. And look, to be honest with you, it nearly brings a tear to my eye. I'll probably cry to seeing the Kane leave, to be honest with you. I'm not even going to lie. You're going to see a full-grown man absolutely cry. And that's the effect Harry Kane's had on all of us. We've watched him go from a boy to a man at our club. And, ultimately, when he's progressed to the stage that he's always wanted to progress to, and, that sort of stage that we can be proud of, we failed him. We have failed them, and that's it at the end of the day. Just quickly, Colin Lunsden here says, if they do bring in another Poch type manager, do you think Levy will only be aiming for top four? Yeah, look, I think so as well. It is for me. Look, even next season, my aim, forget about winning Premier League next season. My aim is just getting back in top four next season. That's my aim next season. I'll be honest with you, Colin. But we'll get back to Scotty there. Scotty, what's your opinion on Harry Kane?
Yeah, honestly, I want whatever Harry Kane wants, because he deserves nothing less. I think, I would love for Kane to walk into Levy's office after this and say, look, you got one more season with me, cough up, let's go. I'm done. And I think it's time that happens, but at the same time, if we have to rebuild and we decide that's the route forward, then we're going to need to sell Harry Kane and potentially Heung-min Son and whomever else. But the issue for me becomes this summer, is there anyone that can actually afford to buy Kane? And I know we kind of alluded to that already, right? So I don't mean to be repetitive here, but we know Levy's not going to sell him on the cheap, and there's not very many teams that are going to be willing to pay what we're going to be asking for him. So I think the worst possible situation is where he ends up stuck at the club and doesn't want to be here. That's a bad deal for everybody. We're not using his funds to rebuild. We've got a world-class striker who doesn't want to be there, and the toxicity just exacerbates from there. So if he does really want to leave, then we need to start figuring that out now. And I agree. I don't think he would want to leave England, and that pretty much leaves City or United as the two places where he would end up going. I think I was talking to a buddy of mine earlier today, and he's a United fan, and his prediction is that Kane and Haaland both end up in Manchester, and it just kind of depends on which club that the two of those are going to end up at. So yeah, it's gonna be tough, but to answer the question, I just want whatever Harry Kane wants because he deserves everything that he wants and more. So
yeah, 100%. And just before I get Matty's views on it, Kev Williams says this felt like Fort is gone. Kane gone, cup final over. No, look, I fully echo them sentiments. And I just seen a comment you were saying you were down watching this. Look, we all are, man. But you know what I mean? Look, everyone chat, just DM me on Twitter, man. I'm always there. My DMs are always open. Wayne Bonner says it's starting to feel like when we nearly went out of business in the early 90s, I think we'll have Kane for one more season at best. Yeah, look, 100%, Dave, and that's at best, and that's with Levy standing in his way. Saying you're not going anywhere, but it's not only Kane. I will be asking about Sonny now in a second. And then we just have a couple more super chats to run through here. Big up Wayne Bonner for the super chat. Colin Lunsden says Kane is being let down by the board. 100%, fully agree with you. And I think Matty will speak a bit on that as well when we get his opinions there. Wayne Bonner says Kane evolved, Enic didn't. 100%, Wayne, fully agree with you. And Kev Williams says, I may be wrong. I felt like Kane's head wasn't there. Look, maybe it's starting to look a little bit like that. There's no better man to ask me. But first of all, I want to hear Matty's opinion. And big up for all the super chats, guys. Really do appreciate it. You're all legends.
First of all, I was going to say I didn't get the cap memo, so I apologize for that. But I think with Harry Kane's future, look, I agree with Cody and Scott. It's kind of preparing for the worst at this stage that he may be moving on, and I think it's the professionalism that we would expect from Harry Kane, that he's not got his agent to come out and leak stuff to the press. He's not had his own comments, stuff like that. He's been very professional about it, saying he'll decide his future after the Euros. But I think after the Euros, we'll hear that Spurs are maybe not Spurs are listening to offers, but that Harry Kane is actively trying to move away from Spurs. And there's not one Spurs fan, not one that could begrudge that man if he decided to leave Tottenham. I think he has given so much to this club. He's given the best part of his career. He has been an absolute legend for this football club. And he owes us absolutely nothing. Not 1 ounce of anything does that man owe us. We owe him everything. And we can't give him that. That, like the commentator a second ago said, the board have let him down. And there's no doubt about that. We 2 years ago were in a Champions League final. We were in a situation where we had a manager who wanted to commit his long-term future to this club, who had the ability, who had already began to build a platform and a basis that could have propelled this football club to greatness. And all we needed to do was put money into the squad, build a team around Harry Kane, and you could have almost a guaranteed return on your investment if you built a squad around that man who has somehow, yet again this season, gotten even better. Now, the question of whether Harry Kane will want to leave and whether Harry Kane will leave, I think are two very, very different scenarios because, as has already been mentioned, in a pandemic season, who is going to fork out £150 million for, who I think is this season, probably behind Robert Lewandowski, has been one of the best players in the world. Yeah. You do have to remember that on the front of investment, he's 28 years of age and he has recurring ankle injuries. You can talk all you want about his goals, but there is still that risk element of people investing in him. Daniel Levy's going to hold out for 150 million. I'd say he wouldn't go much below 120 in a pandemic season. When someone like Haaland is available next season, Haaland could potentially be available for 40 or 50 million pounds of that release clause if he doesn't leave Dortmund this season. I don't know if it's the right time, if it's the right situation for Harry Kane to leave. But like I said it on Twitter, if Harry Kane wants to leave, I want him to leave too, because there's not many times, and people would argue there's no times when a man comes before the club, but with what Harry Kane has given to this football club and how he's been stomped on and just let down and disappointed, I think this club owes him everything. And if he wants to move, we need to grant him that wish.
100%. And Kev Williams says here, lads, like your views on where do we go from here. Look, I will be asking the panel that in a little bit, Kev. A big up for the super chat, my man. Bob, before I give my opinion on Harry Kane, do you want to have your say on whether you think he's going or not?
Yeah, hi guys. I think if there's only one person will decide if Harry Kane goes, and that's Harry Kane himself. I also believe if there's one player who's got the clout to go up to Daniel Levy and the board and stand before him and say, right, what are your plans for the summer? It's Harry Kane. And if they turn around and his ambition doesn't match, or their ambition doesn't match Harry's, then he's got every right. And I'll be honest with you, David, this is really hard for me to say. I know you're not going to be happy with me saying this, and Cody might, and everyone might not be happy. But if it comes to the point where the board aren't going to invest this summer, I want Harry to go. I honestly want him to go and win as many trophies elsewhere, because he deserves more than that. I'm embarrassed at times when he plays for us. I'm embarrassed that he plays for a club like us. So if it came to it where we're not going to invest this summer, fair enough, we're stuck with that shit. But Harry Kane doesn't have to, and I'd want him to go. I'd want Harry Kane to move on if we're not going to match his ambitions, or even think about matching his ambitions. So hard for me to say, but that's what the club's doing to you right now. Just so disillusioned, aren't we?
No, we are. Look, for me, I love Harry Kane. Everybody knows that. Look, I even came up with this thing where I could tell how good he was going to be judging by his hair. You know what I mean? That's how much I love the man. And it's, do you know what? If he goes, I hold no personal grudges. I'll send him off with all my love. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to track him where he goes. I'm going to follow him. I'm always going to wish him the best. And I always hope he finds the back of the net, because at the end of the day, he's done nothing but good things for this club. He went out on so many loans, 8 or 9 different loans, you know what I mean, to hone his skills, and all he done was work hard, live the right lifestyle. He dragged us through, so many seasons. And all he's been waiting around for is just not massive investment, but investment in the right areas, bringing in the right quality. Players that can also enhance his game. You know what I mean? Because I'm sure rather than dropping deep in something like that and trying to drag the team, I'm almost sure like there are times he wants to be back in the box again, being on the end of things, getting balls in the box for him to get his head on, go and attack. And that's something we haven't seen in a while. And for me, look, I think with the noises coming out again, I think it's going to be hard to knock them back this time. Will clubs have the money? Look, there are going to be a lot of clubs around Europe. You're going to have Real Madrid looking for a striker. You're probably going to have Barcelona looking for one. You have City looking for one. If Dortmund sell Haaland, they might come in. You know what I mean? Bayern Munich might look for one with Lewandowski's age. There's a lot of variables going on. And for me, I think his time could be coming to an end.
You know what, David? If he goes, I want him to stay in the Premier League. I want him to break the record. I want him to come back in a different jersey to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium so that he can get the love and respect that the fans can show him, and that Daniel Levy can sit there and listen to how much we love him more than we love Daniel Levy, that's for sure. But it would be magic. It would be magic to see Harry Kane in another jersey, but the love that the fans would just shower him with, because if we end up losing him after this year, it'll just be such a tragedy that the stadiums have been empty the whole year and we haven't been able to see arguably his greatest season as an individual player. So I certainly hope that he stays in the Premier League. We love watching him. I'll always follow Harry Kane. I'll always love Harry Kane.
Yeah, and I think why it just kind of hit me right now. I think why today hurts so much is it does feel like today is the dagger in the heart of top four. Yeah. And I think had we gotten top four and potentially won a League Cup, it's a fantastic season, right? And so today I think was that dagger. And I think what I'm getting at is top four. So it's such a huge miss right now, because we really, if we're talking about investing in the squad to get to a point where Harry Kane feels like we can win the league, we need a center back, a right back, and a CDM. And I think we're actually close if we can put those 3 pieces in place. But missing the Champions League today made that increasingly more difficult to invest to a point where, to get us where we need to be. And so that's why today hurts so bad for me is I think this result today could literally drive Harry Kane out the door. 2 days result, where if we would have gotten 3 points today, every reason to think we have the best season we've ever had in the Premier League era, and we invest and we march on to greater things. So today's heavy. It really hurts.
I think though, I would love to think that adding a few key pieces would put us on the same level as Man City. But when you look at them right now, in reality, almost their entire bench makes it into our starting 11. They are miles and miles and miles beyond us. We are so far away from competing with them. Honestly, it's just it's really tough.
You need the right mentality as well, Code, don't you, mate? You compare mentalities between the Man City squad, Liverpool squad, not so much this season, but the Man City squad, even the Man United squad, the mentality, not the players, put the players to one side, but there needs to be a shift of mentality within the club as well, just like Poch did. I don't like talking about Poch, you all know that, but what he did when he first came in, he changed the culture, the environment, the mindset of us fans, never mind the players. It was a given that we were going to compete for the top four. It was a given that we were going to finish in the top four. So it was a mentality shift that we've unfortunately, going from that to not being surprised because we lost against Man United at home.
Yeah,
that's a big shift, mate. That's a big shift.
Yeah, 100%. Just quickly on Harry Kane. Then I have 2 super chats I need to get to, lads, and then we'll ask Matty a question. With Harry Kane, look, there comes a point where he's a fan. He's a Tottenham fan. Like, you know what I mean? To me, he's a Tottenham fan. I think he hurts just as much as us.
Yeah.
And there's only so long he can go on with a broken heart with this shit keep happening. And look, I just echo again. I love the man. And if you ever watches this, please stay. I'm begging you. I love you more than I love my missus. And I'm not even messing. I'm genuinely serious when I say that. I need Harry Kane to stay. But Brian C says, lads, the crossroads for us is getting closer. At this stage, it's about backing Harry more than any manager. As Spurs fans, do we need to start a movement to get the board to finally step up and back Harry? Matty, what do you say to Brian C? Big up Brian C. Great super chat, my man.
Yeah, big up
Brian. You're getting super chat today.
Yeah, look, I think it's going to be very hard to get the board to do anything because I agree with a lot of people that they've gotten away with a lot over the last 18 or so months, as Jose Mourinho has with the lack of fans in the ground. And there aren't many clubs you can say have benefited from that. But perhaps Tottenham, if you did have to select a team that have done, it would be Spurs. Because imagine, like, you're looking at the uproar on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube. Those are the fans that would usually be in the ground. I don't think Jose would still be in a job, and I think the board would have had a lot more banners and a lot more planes flying over the ground if that was the case. But I think we're gone beyond any point of the board properly investing in this team. And I think I do think we're at the point, like I said, with Jose Mourinho 6 weeks ago, that he's gone beyond the point of no return. Yeah. I think we're at that stage with Harry Kane now that it is just a waiting game for him to move on from Spurs. And once he does leave, if it is, as we may expect this summer, I think that's the end for Jose, and that is beyond any doubt the end for Enic. It'll be impossible for them to turn their fortunes around at this club. And hearing from Alistair Gold last week, the week before, that on a personal level, he doesn't think Enic will be in charge of Spurs in the next decade. I think it would just be us fighting a losing battle and talking to a brick wall if we were trying to force any investment or force any action from Enic within this club. I think it is just a waiting game for them to move on and for us to try and build from there, which is absolutely devastating. And I completely understand the argument of people saying, well, they got us into this new stadium, they got us the training ground, they got us the other thing, got us a Champions League final. Fantastic. We have an incredible thing to do there. We got to Champions League final, but that matters absolutely nothing. It matters almost less than nothing that we got to that Champions League final, lost, and are now looking very, very likely to be on a downward trajectory right to the specific situation that we were when that club bought us. It makes us 20 years completely futile. Yes, we had some fantastic moments. That game away to Ajax, one of my, like, I was only, again, I haven't been a Spurs fan for too long, but for my whole life, it's a night that will live long in my memory. Even the game against City, that whole Champions League run, the moments getting into the top four for the first time. We have had some incredible moments under Enic, but it matters for nothing if the club are in the exact same situation when they leave as they were when we came in. It just so happens we have a nicer house. Does that matter for much? I don't think it does. I think what Enic has done in the last 4 or 5 years, again, in terms of progression of the club, it could be advantageous to us in the future. But I think what they have done is they've boosted the value of this club so they can make as much money as possible when they do sell, which has been the philosophy of them since they took over. It's not been about trophies. It's not been about building the best squad. It's been about treating this club as a business. That's exactly what they've done. We're not going to get anything out of them as long as they stay. I think it is just a waiting game for them to move on, and that hurts. It really does.
Yeah, 100%. Just quickly, sorry, 1 second. Big up Brian C for the super chat. Kev Williams says here quickly as well. He says, "I hope Kane moves abroad. It would be heartbreaking." 100%. And Colin Lunston says, "If Enic managed to get an NFL franchise, they will see that as success. To them, it would be like the Champions League win. To us fans, it would be nothing." 100%. Look, Enic, they've been living for watching Lady Gaga, at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in concert. That's what they've been waiting for. Let's be honest. You know what I mean? Rather than a trophy, that is their Champions League final. Yeah. Big up Colin Lunston. Really do agree with that. Sorry, Scotty. Work away there, my man.
No sweat. Honestly, I was going to say I completely agree with what Matty said, and I think I'll add, if there's any silver lining, it's that they have put us in a position to be probably the most attractive club to anybody looking to buy a football team. That is the one positive out of all of this, right? And I know things don't look good at this moment, but if you look at the stadium, if you look at the infrastructure, if you look at the branding that they've done, especially in the United States, I mean, Spurs have taken over this country. They put themselves in a really good position to attract investors or purchasers. I just don't know if they'll actually sell. They need to. I would be thrilled if they would.
One thing about the sale of Tottenham Hotspur, you have to understand. Enic bought Tottenham Hotspur for £23 million.
Yeah.
Okay. When Roman Abramovich went to Chelsea, he bought them for £140 million, and most of that was debt. Billionaires do not buy investments that are at their peak value, not smart ones. And you know what? Who is going to come in here with $1.6 billion to buy Tottenham Hotspur and then spend hundreds of millions of pounds on the club? I just don't see it happening. As much as Enic do deserve a lot of the blame for the shambles of a club that we are right now, you have to hope that we are still in the building process of their overall plan, because I just don't see someone dropping in. I don't see a Jeff Bezos coming in here and just saying, "Oh, I'm going to buy this club," and then make it into even Manchester City. They weren't bought for a large sum, right? A smart billionaire is going to buy low and build from there.
Sure.
Not buy when we're at our peak value.
But the potential is there, Code. That's what I'm saying. I mean, £1 million a game. That's 38 million just Premier League games, and obviously you've got NFL. Then you've got Lady Gaga, Cliff Richard, all of them, and obviously then. But the potential's there to do bigger and better things if they invested, and the Champions League, some more cups, constant top four finishes, challenging for the Premier League. So yes, they will need to fork out an X amount for the purchase and the next amount but it's not like they'll be purchasing that and it is the finished article. Personally, I think it's down to the potential buyer's ambition as well. And as fans right now, I think we just, never mind the players looking in line with the owners' visions, I think the fans need to as well. I think we need to be realistic. If they aren't going to go, we need to just sit back and right, we're stuck with them now, and whatever's going to be, it's going to be. Unfortunately, as that sounds, and like I say, it's sad days, especially what Poch brought to the club and that changed our mindset. I think we just need to reset that as well, which is a horrible thing to do. But if Enic do sell, I think it'll be not we finally sold the club. It'll be right, who have we sold it to, and what is their ambition and what is their project, because their mindset needs to be total different to what how Enic are on the club at the moment, which is easier said than done, like you say, mate.
Yeah. Can I just say quickly, sorry if you don't mind, Dave, just first of all, Lady Gaga, if you're watching and you can play centre half, please do let us know. But I also think in terms of how, like, the way football's gone, this entire pandemic thing, I do think a lot of this has come at the worst time for Enic, because we finally got a manager where a lot of people disagree with me, but I staunchly believe that Spurs were going to give Jose Mourinho the money it took to build a squad to win things. Just the pandemic came in the way and all that. But I think a lot has gone wrong for Enic in this last couple of years, because football fans have never ever felt so disconnected from their teams, because we can't even go to the ground and watch them. That is that is football. And there's a quote here. It's a bit lengthy, but it's one that I remember, like when I was kind of first getting into football. Like it was a hobby. It was something I enjoyed watching at the weekend. But the first time I kind of realized it was a bit more than that. It was this thing I was on like Facebook at the time. It's not just a stadium. It's our home. It's not just a kit. It's our skin. We're not only 11. We're millions. We're not just a crowd. We're a family. It's not just 90 minutes. It's a lifetime. It's not just a passion. It's an emotion. It's not just a game. It's our life. And that is the biggest problem that we have right now, because that game is our life. Yeah. Isn't it? Yeah. It is. But this game means so much to so many people. Yeah, at a time when we're feeling so disconnected, more disconnected than we ever have from those 11 players out in the pitch. The worst thing that could happen to any team is exactly what's happening to Tottenham right now, when it seems like the manager and the board and the players are dumping the philosophies and the foundations and the everything about this club in terms of, like, was it Blanchflower who said, we don't want to bore the opponent into submission. We want to go out and play with style. With Spurs, even when we fail, is an echo of glory. That's not what we're seeing. Everything about Spurs is the complete opposite of what has made so many of us fall in love with this football club. And at the end of the day, as much as you can say timing has been bad with this pandemic and all that, obviously the whole thing has been bad, but in terms of a footballing side for Spurs, the timing has been bad. Everything at the end of the day does come down to Enic. And they are ripping this club away from us. And you can say the worst thing, what I thought before this season, the worst feeling was being angry and being disappointed and just feeling so bitter towards your football club. But what I've started to realize in recent weeks, the worst thing is not caring. But like, we've gone out, we've lost games. I thought, I just don't care. I'm just used to it.
I didn't celebrate don't care goal today.
Each day we may as well be shoving a piece of dirt on us, because they are burying this club.
Absolutely.
No, they are. But Kev Williams says here, question: would you take Brendan Rodgers and Mick? And with Brendan Rodgers, to be honest with you, I wouldn't. He's going to get you so far, but you see the same thing with any team he's managed in the Premier League. They do so well up until 28, 30 games, and then they fall apart. You're just going to keep getting the same disappointment. But big up Kev Williams for the super chat. Just quickly, I do want to say there's over 180 people watching. You know what I mean? Make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you smash the subscribe button if you're new on the channel. Also, get your super chats in. The chat is flying, and I am struggling to keep up. As you know, I always try to get your messages up. I know people can't get the super chats in, but if you do want us to stop what we're talking about, and you do genuinely you come and discuss, do get your super chats in. And also, a link for the channel membership for the call-in show every Friday. I might actually do an extra one this week. Is in the description below. Why not grab yourself a membership? And but sorry lads, back to where we were. Anyone else want to say anything else on the board before I have a few more questions to fire at you?
I hate them.
I'll jump in on what Matty was saying too. I do think it's really important to point out that a 20-year plan dating back to 2001, the second it finishes, global pandemic of 100 years. It's really tough, and it's really, I think we have to be mindful of that. And if you're Enic, it's disastrous, and there's no way around that, right? But I'm a big fan of being solution oriented. Yes, it's a problem. Yes, it's a pain in the ass, but like, we have to find a solution. The only solution is investing in the squad. Off field has been tremendous for Enic. On field has been shambolic. We can get into the director of football debate, blah blah blah, all of that. But what's happened on the field in relation to Enic's responsibility has been absolutely piss poor, and it's enough is enough. And I've been somebody who only recently, I would say within the last 6 to 12 months, started feeling that I wanted Enic out of the club, and now I'm fully just get them as far away from Tottenham Hotspur as humanly possible. And I think that says a lot. As somebody who's been a big fan of Levy, for me to be so distasteful towards Enic at this point says everything we need to know about what's happened.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'd agree with that. Jordan Stevens says here, Levy will prioritise name and right deals over transfer and put that money into property portfolio that he is building. That's what he uses this club for. No, look, there is an element to that as well. They do have a vast property portfolio as well and everything else. So, look, you're not too far wrong there, Jordan. Absolutely agree with you, my man. Big yourself up. And like I said, I know I was speaking to you during the week and you weren't too well. And I hope you're feeling okay, lad. But, lads, next question. Son, first of all, actually, on Son, I want to say the messages that people have been sending Sonny. The racial abuse. Do you realise the blood, sweat and tears this guy has done for this club? You know, did anyone realise what this guy has done for the club? You know what I mean? But look, even whether he's done nothing for the club, it's not acceptable anyway. You know what I mean? But like, this is a player that's done nothing but positives for this club. How dare you? You know what I mean? Get into his inbox and send him racial abuse when you know what I mean? It's just not acceptable in any shape or form or manner. And boys, any of you want to speak on that before I ask you? Do you think he's leaving or not as well?
Just a sign of the times now with regards to abuse. It's just people can do it, and there's no accountability, is there? And you know, if there is any thoughts of Son umming and ahhing about staying or going, things like this ain't going to help. You know, if he's getting stick like that, it's personally, I think just like Kane, it's going to come down to the ambition. He's got a contract issue which is still not sorted. The reason I think is that Dad's obviously got a big influence on him as well. He seems to drive his career very prominently. So there's no reason why at the end of the season, Sonny might turn around and say, "Dad, what do I do?" And his dad's going to say, "Look, there's many clubs out there who he's the affordable choice from Spurs at the moment, isn't he? He is the more affordable choice." So, but we'll see.
Yeah. Cody.
Yeah. Look, in terms of the racism, I mean, there's not going to be any way to stop this until you have, proper identification in order to have a social media account. Because people just hiding behind their Twitter egg avatars or false identification or whatever. I don't know why people would get off doing something like that. I think it's just for the attention, and it's sad because every time it happens, we all sit here and we talk about it, and it's like the same thing with Donald Trump being the president. It's like any publicity is good publicity. So whether they don't care that we're screaming at their face, like say no to racism and everything like that, it's almost getting worse and worse the more that we talk about it. But if anybody that's watching that is willing to make any kind of racist comments, which I'm sure there is not, fuck you, go back in your hole. Go back in your hole. I know you're only happy when you're sad. Just get help. Honestly, get help, because it's just the players don't deserve it. They really don't, especially Heung-min Son.
100%. And quickly, do you think he is going to leave the club, Cody?
Well, Will Stewart from THFC Rants has a unique perspective on this because he lived in
By the way,
Korea.
actually, speaking of it, sorry, quickly, I just want to say, after this, if you're if you are still frustrated and venting after this, go to Will Stewart THFC Rants. He will be taking the graveyard shift. And anyone that's asleep, awake tonight that can't sleep, get on there and join the crap with him. But sorry, Cody.
Yeah, Will Stewart's popped in with a super chat. Speak of the devil, said, you say his name 3 times fast and he shows up. But yeah, listen, there's a lot of different factors that go into whether or not Heung-min Son leaves, because Sonny is worth more than the price that we can get for him because of the international market and the international money that he brings in. It's something crazy, like 37% of all Korean Premier League fans are Spurs fans just because of Sonny, right? And they're going to follow him wherever he goes. And don't you think that Enic and Daniel Levy fully understand that? Yeah. So, but he carries the weight of a nation. Absolutely he does. And there's lots of pressure from home that want to see him be that first major successful Asian player that goes to Real Madrid or one of the clubs in that tier above us. So. Yeah, it's the same kind of question with different angles when it comes to selling Sonny as it is to selling Kane. There's a case to be made for doing it, and there's a lot of different factors as to whether it happens or not. But man, results like today, this is why a result like today, like if you take today's result in a vacuum by itself, losing to Manchester United at a point in the season where they're second, they're a better club, they're further along in their developmental process, that you can take. But because of the implications that it has on these legendary players, whether or not they're going to stay, the greater picture, this is why you're seeing this new level of disillusionment amongst the panel, amongst the fans, amongst the entire community. And it's maddening, saddening, depressing, angering, all at the same time. I don't know. Like, it's not the kind of thing that you go to bed tonight and you wake up tomorrow and you say, you know what, that was okay. It's really rotten. It's a really rotten feeling right now.
Yeah. 100%. Will Stewart's ears must have been burning. He says, "I'll say it again, lads. No way he puts pen to paper without top 4 now. No, look, I go along the lines with that, Will. And like I was saying, guys, get over, show Will your support. And by the way, make sure you share this stream. We're actually 300 off, 3 people off 200 people watching.
Come on.
No, we're over 202 people watching right now. We are smashing records, breaking records. The chat is flying. Like I say, get your super chats in, guys. Do get them in. They really do support the channel. And if not, I do try and get everybody's comment up. And then I want to hand over to Matty with Son as well, because I know Matty will want to have a say, and then to Scotty as well. Kev Williams says Son gets a finger poke in the eye and gets racially abused. Yeah, no, I know. And then we have another super chat here. Just give me 1 second, Matty. It's from Colin Lunsden. Big up, Connie Lunsden. He says if it affects his family, it may make Sonny's mind up.
Yep.
That's a fair point. That is a great point.
Yep.
But sorry, Matty, go on.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point by Colin. Made a few of those in those super chats. I think look, there's already talk from people that South Korean football fans hate Spurs because of they feel that we're holding Heung-min Son back and he's seen as a god over there. I think that could be something that does affect him. This is only making things worse. Look, I said it in my stream there about an hour ago, and I'll say it again. The people who reduce themselves to racially abusing anybody, not just a footballer after a bad performance, anybody, or abusing or pointing out or using any sort of difference in any person to insult for their own gain or any reason like that, honestly need to take a hard look at themselves and wonder what the hell they're doing with their lives. I honestly feel in terms of football, fans who do that, I know it happened with Raheem Sterling yesterday as well, they're simply doing it for 2 reasons. One, they're jealous of somebody who's achieved more than them, and 2, they don't have the mental capacity or the intellectual capabilities to put forward any sort of a reasonable argument as to why that person hasn't done well enough in that game. They're simply idiots. And look, I've said it, I don't want to say it on your behalf, Dave, but for me, if I see anybody like that, you're banned, you're blocked, you're reported instantly, and I'll never have any sort of time for you. Cop on and grow up. But in terms of Son staying at Spurs, I think the reports we're hearing at the moment are positive. Fabrizio Romano said as well that he is in talks with the contract. I think Alistair Gold chimed in that as well, that Son wants to stay and is trying to sign that contract. I think a lot of it does rely on the future of Harry Kane. And look, in a roundabout way, I think if Jose stays, Kane stays, and vice versa. If he goes, he goes. But I think Son, it's a massive commitment to make this late in his career as well. Is he 27, 28 years of age? It's a massive commitment to make, and without any sort of guarantee of trophies or success of the club, I really don't think it's a commitment Son could be willing to make right now. And I put him in the same bracket as Harry Kane if he wants to go. Honestly, I wish you the best of luck, and I really hope you do find success in another club.
Yeah,
100%. Just quickly before we get Scotty's opinions, Dan N says only 63 likes. Smash that like. Come on, guys, the Harris Army. We need to get that. We want over 100 likes before we end off the stream. Come on. Sorry, Scotty, go ahead.
Yeah, no problem. Yes, definitely smash that like button. But I'll start by saying I wore this backwards today to stand with Sonny. That's just disgusting things that we're seeing today. I think sports, football, all that aside, the world needs to be a better place. And I think I'm glad that the 5 of us can get on and share that message. And the 200 people watching, please repeat and reiterate the message, to those you interact with. We've just got to do better. And I think it starts by making an impact at the individual level, being a better person, challenging others to be better people. That's what we can do right now, but it's something that has to happen. It's disgusting, and enough is enough. Now on Sonny leaving, I think I do have hope that he wants to be here. I will say his post-game presser today with the Spurs team, right? That was really heartbreaking. It really was. He's clearly distraught and clearly very beat up right now. And I think the fact that I've never seen him like that, like it was discussed earlier, if you look at today's result through a vacuum, it's whatever, but it's clear that something is deeply wrong, in Sonny's mind right now with the situation. He just was very upset. It does make me nervous. And the only thing that I would say I could see happening is if Mbappe does leave PSG, I think Son's the ready-made replacement for him. And with Poch there, it makes too much sense for me. So that does make me a little bit nervous. So we need to keep Raz and Mbappe. But man, we need Sonny at the club. And but again, if he decides to leave, then I wish him the best, and I wouldn't ever want to get in his way, because he deserves everything that Kane deserves, is without question.
Yeah, 100%. And Will Stewart says here, look, folks, I have a wrench here, and if I see any dog whistle racist comments or tasteless banter, I'll put you in the timeout and hide you for good. Big up, Will Stewart, by the way. Look, guys, like I keep saying, get your super chats in. The chat is flying, and I am struggling to keep up with the chat. Lads, look, we may as well get into it. What is after Carabao Cup final, is Jose sacked? And we'll start with Cody, and we'll go around to everybody. Take your time, get your opinion out there.
No, I don't see Jose being sacked mid-season. And strictly speaking, from what I've understand from reading up on his contract, there's a clause in there that if we don't get European football, the payout drops from 30 million for the last 2 years to 20 million. So, Daniel Levy would rather see us crash and burn after a Carabao Cup final loss and save $10 million. And so I don't see him being sacked after the Cup final regardless. I think we're stuck with him till the end of the year. And yeah, that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah. Matty, we'll go to you, or we'll go to Bob next.
Yeah, I think it's all going to come down to where the board's. It's such a big summer for the board, isn't it? All eyes are going to be on the board.
Isn't it, Bob?
Yeah, and there's two ways of looking at it. Maybe Jose. See, you know my thoughts on Jose, Dave, and I've always given him the benefit of that, and I've always tried to play devil's advocate and try not to put too much onus on him. But he's making it worse, harder and harder for me to justify his position and give him any sort of clout. If we lose a Carabao Cup and we're out of the top 4 race, then regardless, is he becoming less of a person that I would trust. Give 200 million to rebuild this team because of the way he's been of late and his tactics and everything else and stuff that he's obviously done in the press. So it's a combination of things. But if he manages to win the Carabao Cup, unless the board are going to back him with a bit of money, because that's where his forte is, then it'll be in everyone's best interest to part companies to go their separate ways. Yeah,
100%. Matty?
Today was the first time that I ever said he's got to go. Like I said, I think I've been of the feeling for the last month or two that he's gone beyond that point of no return, where it is only a matter of time before he goes. I never thought in this time that he was going to be successful at the club. But I think today, again, it's not the fact that we lost, as the lad said, that result in the vacuum is understandable. I wouldn't say it's acceptable, but it's understandable. The entire situation at the club, the manner in which we're losing, the repetitiveness of how we're losing. A few stats here. We've I think it's gone into the joint second most points dropped from winning positions in the league this season with 18. We have gone from winning at halftime to not winning the game the most times this season. Today was our 7th. Today's the first time Jose Mourinho has lost 10 games in a Premier League season with the most points dropped in the final 10 minutes of games with 11. Every single stat is the first time Jose has been this bad, or Spurs have this worst stat in the league. And I keep bringing it back to the point. It's not about the quality of the manager. It's not about what the manager can achieve. It's not what the manager has achieved. It's the match between the manager and the situation that he's been tasked with fixing. And the one constant, the one common denominator everywhere Jose has been, bar Porto in his first big job. And again, I think the sport it's a completely different sport to what it was back then. But since then, the one common denominator at Chelsea, Real Madrid, Inter Milan, Chelsea again, and even Manchester United, where he could have been deemed a failure, he's had money. Every place he's been. And again, I do think he was promised that, but it's not going to happen. And we need to stop judging the manager. I've been guilty of this. I've really, really been guilty of this, judging the manager and what he has achieved, rather than the realism of him doing the same thing at this club. And Jose is not the right man for this situation. He absolutely is not. And to kind of explain more what I'm saying, I think to put it on either extreme, it's like if you put Pep at Burnley, one of the best managers in the world, he's not going to win stuff there. Or if you put Big Sam at Manchester City, he's so good at what he does, but in that particular environment, he's not going to achieve anything. And I think where a lot of Spurs fans today, I think, was a turning point. I think the majority of Spurs fans already had turned against Jose, but I think today was a big turning point where me and you as well, David, kind of the staunch defenders and the people who really hope.
Last one's left, lad.
Yeah. I think they are starting to not turn against Jose, but kind of accept the time is up. And again, I'm completely with you, David, in that whatever man is in that dugout, I will back him 100% and beyond any doubt. I still back Jose 100%. I still want him to succeed, but I just don't think it's going to happen. And look, if Sol Campbell was appointed manager of Tottenham Hotspur tomorrow, I would back him 100%. I hate the man. I hate what he did to this football club.
That's controversial.
No, it's just to get my point across. It's whoever's in that dugout, no matter who it is, he'll be the man that is tasked with bringing success to this football club. It's what I want, and he's the one who's been paid to do it. Whoever's in that dugout, I will back him 100%. But that doesn't mean I agree that he's the man to take the club forward. And I think today Jose's time was up. And if that cup final was in February, Jose wouldn't be here anymore.
Yeah, no, look, I'd go along the lines with that if I'm honest. To be, but we'll ask Scotty first, and then I'll give my opinions on it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's sacked actually this season still, and I think a huge part of that is the ego of Levy. I think Levy's worked so hard for this type of appointment, and I don't think he will want to part ways and admit his defeat this quickly. Now I could be wrong there, but I don't see it happening. I also think that Mourinho's ability to win a final with an underperforming squad is still a better bet than any bounce from a manager who hasn't won a trophy before, which is, we all know who we're going to end up getting. Like, Nagelsmann is fantastic, but he hasn't done anything. He just has a lot of media hype, and he plays some pretty football, but I still think Jose's probably more capable of getting, a final worked out with this squad than anybody else. He's a very good manager when it comes to winning one game. He won a final with Fellaini as a striker, and could do something. So I'm not, obviously that's just, for dramatic effect. But the idea is that I think he's the man to take us into that match. And then after that, I really don't know. But I think that he's still the manager this summer. And that's where I say Levy's ego is going to keep him from sacking Jose. But if he doesn't back Jose, then it becomes very toxic. And I think Levy might walk himself into a really tight corner if he's not careful. So I don't know. We'll see. But I think he's around.
Yeah, no, look, I've always thought that looking at the documentary, how much Levy, was asking him to do things. And something still inside me thinks Levy is going to keep him, to be honest with you. But for me, I go along the lines of what Matty said. Look, I think if the League Cup final was when it was supposed to be played in April, I do think he'd be gone by it. Especially, look, after today's game, I definitely think he'd be sacked. It would have been last straw for him. And look, for me, it's becoming increasingly hard to back him. You know what I mean? Look, I want the guy to succeed. I'd love if we could go out and put a run of 5 wins together now and make a stab at top 4, keep hold of Jose, back him and go into next season. Is it realistic? No, it's not. It's not. And that brings me on to my next question. Before I ask it, we have 225 people tuning in. Make sure you've already smashed that like button. Make sure you smash the subscribe button on the channel. If you're enjoying the lads, all their descriptions are in the link in the description box below as well. Like I said, grab a channel membership. Get your channel memberships for the fanning shows. I'll be doing 2 of them this week. And also, most importantly, get your super chats in. The chat is flying, like I said. And it guarantees we read your comment out and take our time to discuss it, just like Sean Mitchell has done. He says, shocked to see Dyer and Ayer start. Last time they played was Zagreb away and gave away a 2-goal lead, setting up to fail. Look, 100%. I'd agree with that. I would agree with you, and that's a great point. Fair play, Sean Mitchell. Absolutely love it, man. And lads, what do you think? What do you think on that? Like, well, why do you think you picked Dyer? Why do you think you just brought Dyer out from the cold and we'll go to Cody Mack and work our way around again?
It's got to be related to what's going on between Jose and Toby. Has to be. None of us would have wanted Sanchez in there today. So if you're ruling out Toby and you're ruling out Sanchez, that only leaves Rodon and Dyer because, and I actually didn't disagree with Aurier coming in. A good Serge Aurier transforms his team, and we saw last week at Newcastle that Tanganga has growing to do, and he has his limitations. So I thought Aurier starting was actually a good sign, especially since he seems to be in that group of dissenting players that has been kind of frozen out, in the Premier League. I think that was only Aurier's 4th start in the Premier League since the start of February. So, yeah, I mean, Eric Dyer, I was trying to justify it in my head saying, maybe he was making the mistakes because he was getting overplayed and a good long rest away from the game might have helped him. But He wasn't that good today, but I don't think he was the reason that we lost either. So,
yeah, fair enough, Scotty.
Yeah, I mean, I did want Aurier, Sanchez, Toby, and Reguilon, and that just, like I said, comes down to that's the back line that's secured the most points for us this season. Simple as that, and didn't get it. There's definitely something going on with Toby, no question. It's a very different situation, but it does remind me of when Walker got binned off and Trippier just kept playing in massive moments before we sold him to City. And again, it's a totally different situation. Poch and Mourinho are going to operate very differently in those situations, but there's definitely something going on, right? I think if you play Sanchez, it has to be with Toby. He has to have somebody babysitting him, and he does okay when he is babysat, right? But yeah, Dyer and Rodon made me nervous the second I saw it. I like Joey Rodon a lot, but he definitely is young. He overcommits a lot, and I think his overcommitment actually causes his partner problems sometimes. And I think we're so hyper focused on pointing out mistakes that we miss some things that happen off of the ball that lead to mistakes as well. So he's got work to do, but I love the kid. I just think we're probably putting a lot of pressure on Joey Rodon. Like I said yesterday, when your best center back is a kid you just plucked out of Swansea in like October.
Yeah.
It's not very good. So yeah, I don't know. It all comes down to the fact that the back line's terrible, and we're never going to be able to hold leads with the way we're playing. And some of it falls on Jose too. Like and I mean his tactics, right? Because our center backs have been isolated over and over and over, and these center backs cannot be isolated. They're just not good enough. Like they're not good enough to not have support around them. We have to defend as a unit. That's not happening. Kind of going on a rant, but it's just all a clusterfuck, and I don't really know what to do.
No, look, 100%. I fully agree with you. And just before we go to Bobspur, just have 2 super chats to get through. Danny Kiriakou, big up Danny, by the way. He says, smash that like if you love Spurs, no matter what. Absolutely love it, man. 100%. No matter what, we still love Tottenham. We're just, we're just in a big clusterfuck at the minute, and we need to sort it out. And Kev Williams says, LFC had to sell Coutinho to push onward. #Kane. Yeah, but Kane's 10 times the player than what Coutinho is, and for me, I just don't want to ever lose him because I love the man. Like I said, I love him more than what I love my missus. But Bob Spur, what's your opinion?
And another thing about Coutinho's money, they spent it wisely as well. So that's another thing. They got better recruitment. We're not. Jose's got a problem with Toby Football Club. We're not. Toby has said something about Jose, so he's not going to pick him Football Club. Toby is our best central defender, hands out. He's our best centre back.
Yeah.
Jose's opinions of him isn't as big. Tottenham Football Club is bigger than what Jose's thoughts are on Toby. There is absolutely no reason, and I mean no reason whatsoever, Toby shouldn't have played today. No reason. And he's coming to a point where he's not picking players to the detriment of our performances and our results. And he's not bigger than our football club. Jose's there to manage our team, not manage his feelings towards individual feelings towards a centre-back. The fact is, Toby wasn't injured. He has been playing games, i.e. the international games. He should have played today. End of. And for him to do so, the fact we're going off, but for me, the biggest thing I've told you this about already, David, the fact he lied in the press just to save face was absolutely horrible anyway. But to carry on to compound that in a game against Man United and not pick him, it just doesn't sit right with me. It's just sad, absolutely sad to see. Yeah,
100%. Look, I agree with you. Matty, what do you make on Jose picking Dyer over Toby?
It was idiotic. It was an absolute shambles of a decision, and it may sound harsh, but I genuinely feel that way. It was a weird feeling for me, and I think I said this to you on my stream a bit earlier, David, that the 11 that I had hoped for, the 11 that I kind of thought would have been the ideal 11 to play that game today, 9 of those players were the same. But still, somehow, when that 11 came out, I was absolutely gutted, and I felt straight away we were going to lose this game. I would have had Bergwijn over Lucas simply for tracking back on the left-hand side, because I thought at the time it was going to be Sean Rashford down the left, which I think we needed to counteract their attacking threat down there. I think, as Cody said the other day, that 43% of United's attacks come down that side. So we need a defensive kind of cover there. But for Eric Dyer, for the season that he's had, the mistakes that he's made, the inability that he has portrayed of his game, for him to be selected to play against a player like Edinson Cavani, who is not on top form. He's beyond his best, but what he has is the experience of a player who's been there, who's won it all, and his movement is something that not a lot of defenders can contend with. Rodon isn't going to deal with it because Rodon is raw, he's naive, he's inexperienced. I said from minute one with this game, the first minute of my first preview, it has to be Toby to give us any sort of a chance of keeping Edinson Cavani out with his expert movement. It was, look, people have been saying Jose's trying to sabotage his time as Spurs. We can get sacked and have, like, save face, not have to resign. Other people saying he's trying to save face from the Toby situation. One of them has to be true. The one thing that can't be true is that Jose thinks Eric Dyer is a better defender than Toby Alderweireld. Because if that is true, Jose Mourinho should never step foot in a football stadium again. It is as simple as that. Now, we can't sit here and say that if Alderweireld had played, we would have won that game, or we would have kept a clean sheet, or it would have worked. But what we did say before the game was that if Eric Dyer does play, it won't work. Yeah. Everyone said it, and I tweeted it when United scored. Every single Spurs fan could have told you that Eric Dyer, through an individual mistake or through a lack of ability today, would have cost us a goal. In my opinion, he cost us 2. Yeah. But every Spurs fan could have told you that. And we've been asking it for so long this season. If we can see these things, why can't Jose Mourinho? Yeah. It is beyond. Yeah. It's beyond me. I cannot figure it out.
But by playing Toby, Matt, surely our chance of winning. Yeah, we can't guarantee that we would have won, but the chance, the percentage of a win would have risen twofold.
Yeah, this is the game of chicken that's been going on between Jose and the board now for some time, right? Jose is telling the board right now, I can't succeed with these players. There's too many players that don't want to embrace my methods. There's too many players that aren't playing for the badge or whatever is going on, right? And he's saying, no, if you're not going to conform, if you're not going to do it my way, then here's the highway. And unfortunately, it's coming at the price of results for us. And like you were saying, Matt, I don't think that Toby wins us the game today. That's for sure. But where do we go from here? If that's the message that was sent through that starting 11 today, does that mean that we're not going to see Toby for the rest of his Spurs career? Is he done after this year? Are we going to go on? Are we going to finish in the bottom half of the table? Because that's on if we're going to make decisions like that. It's absolutely symbolic.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, I just don't understand how you know Cavani's going to start up top. Clinical poacher. How does Toby not start? Like, no one else is mature and capable enough to for me at least. To be able to confidently say they're going to be able to keep Edinson Cavani from finding a goal. I mean, he's older. He's not the Cavani from 4 years ago, but still damn good poacher. And he will find a goal, as we saw today or whatever. And the fact that Toby wasn't deployed to keep him quiet is just something I just cannot understand. And for somebody who has won everything, in the manner that he has, it just, like Matt said, it's very hard for me to wrap my head around how Jose Mourinho doesn't see that. And I'm just sitting in my room, right? Like I'm a random person who plays the sport. I'm certainly not a Premier League manager, and I'm not going to, want to come off as pompous here, but I just really cannot understand how Jose Mourinho didn't see the need to play Toby against Cavani today. And like that one simple fact is all I needed to see to know we were in trouble.
For me, like they both say, Dave, everyone saw it, mate. Everyone saw it. Everyone could see that it's not going to work with Dyer. Every single Spurs fan. Mm-hmm. There's not one single Spurs fan who's going to justify Dyer's inclusion. So what's your thoughts on that? Because, why do you, in your mind, do you reckon Jose started Dyer ahead
Toby is the mole.
Oh, look, for me, look, there's clearly something going on between him and Toby. Maybe Cody is right. Maybe he is the mole. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, look, I don't think it's that Jose didn't see it coming with Dyer starting. And as soon as I seen Dyer starting, I said, look, straight away I thought, he's going out on a limb here today. He's doing or dying by this team selection today because, look, he saw what was coming. He sacrificed. He knew what was coming. And for me, he kind of threw that out, the points away, in my opinion, for pride. He refused to answer the question on Friday in the press conference. Blatantly refused. So, it probably we probably should have known from then something like this was coming. We were actually joking last night about Eric Moonboot starting. You know what I mean? We were actually joking. We didn't think it was going to happen. But for me, you know, he just didn't want to. He just didn't want to swallow his pride. That was it. He said, "Fuck it, I'm going with Eric Dyer," and that's it. And for me, that's wrong. You have to do what you have to do to get your best 11 out there to get us crawling over the end to the 38 games, get us over the line. And for me, he got it completely wrong. And, you know, as soon as I seen the lineup straight away, I was like, okay, he's bit off his nose despite his face or whatever that saying is, I think I got it wrong. But, you know, and look, for me, that's as soon as I seen it, I knew trouble was coming. But so did Jose. And that's the thing. So did Jose. He just didn't want to pick Toby because of whatever's gone on. And for me, he got it completely wrong. Kev Williams was saying there, 1 second, sorry, lads. And then I have a quick question and then one more question to give each, and then we're going to end off there. Kev Williams was saying, as soon as I saw the team sheet, I thought, oh no, we were going to lose. And I agree with you, Kev. I fully agree with you. Lads, just a quick question is does anyone know what this Europa Conference is?
Yeah.
Another distraction.
It's like it's another Europa League, but for the lesser teams. It's ridiculous. It's honestly a joke. I think it's just a chance to get the kind of teams from countries that don't have the chance to do well in the Europa League for financial reasons or whatever, but it's just a third European competition. Is
there a lot more games, Matt? Is there a lot more games?
Participation medal stage. I don't want it. That's literally a participation medal. I do not want it. I don't want to be there.
It's for teams who just miss out in Europa League. I'm not sure how many teams are in it or whatever, but the qualification is so weird in England because like top 4 get Champions League, but 5th might, and 6th and 7th get Europa League, but 8th might, but 7th might not. I don't know who qualifies from England, but yeah, I think there's only one English team in it, but it's a joke. It's a joke.
So it's an absolute load of shit, basically.
We need to finish 9th then, Dave. We need to finish 9th, mate.
No, give me Europa League. I'll take Europa League at this stage. I'll salvage the season with a Europa League spot. What's the story says? I got the feeling the players have lost all respect for Mourinho and are now standing up to him. The result is they get dropped. Not good for the club. Bring in Antonio Conte. Look, Antonio Conte is an option, I suppose. But to be honest with you, any manager looking out the outside in, unless they're going to be guaranteed money, guaranteed 150 million to rebuild this squad, what top manager are we going to get? Because, looking from the outside in, Jose Mourinho and Pochettino are bad players, and our managers have always maintained this. 2 of them cannot be bad managers, and this is the thing. So people will be looking at this as a poison chalice. But lads, quickly, I'm going to ask the lads: is top 4 out, finished, over and done with now, or does someone on the panel still think maybe we can get a three games winning streak together, maybe with an outside hope come the end of the season with Leicester, last game of the season? But before we do, it's your last chance to get your super chats in. It's you know what I mean. Get your questions in for the panel. Like I said, I am going to try to keep getting up your comments. But the chat is flying. I am struggling to keep up. So get your super chats in. Not only does it help the Irish Hotspur grow and go to the very, very top of the game, but it also, it helps take this channel to the next level in which we want to go with better content, better graphics, all this sort of stuff. And plus, it just means we stop and guarantee and talk about your comment. Who doesn't want that? You know what I mean? Who doesn't want that? I've been in that situation before I started my YouTube channel. I wanted my comment brought up on screen. I wanted people to discuss it. It gave me a smile. So get your super chats in. But lads, I'm going to start with you, Cody. Do you think maybe we is your optimism entirely gone? Because you are a positive man.
Listen, I'm going to accept as a supporter that top 4 is gone, because I just can't. You know what? There are levels to delusion, and not even I can look at the table right now and see West Ham 6 points clear, Chelsea behind them, Liverpool 3 points ahead of us, and then Everton behind us 2 points, but with 2 games in hand. Like Everton, they win their game in the first of game in hand, then we play them. Like it'll be us and Arsenal 8 and 9 in the table. So I don't know. Do you think Arsenal can make top 4? No. They're going to be 4 points behind us still. But fuck, we're right there. We're right. That's the level that we're at right now. And you might argue that some of the teams below us, like Leeds, are playing better than us. No. Top 4 is it has to be done. And you know what? Mathematically, yes, possible. But how can you say that after the last 2 weeks, the draw against Newcastle, which was an absolute disgrace, way worse than today's result, even though we got a point, and then today, the message being sent by not starting Toby that the results are not more important than the squabbles, there's no path to top 4. There is no path to top 4. I'm sorry, it's over.
Yeah. Scotty?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say absolutely no chance we get top 4. Then I'm going to take the cop out and say it's very much mathematically possible. So, you can't rule it out, but I'm going to say absolutely not a chance we even come close to it. But I hope I'm wrong. There's very few things that I would be happier to be wrong about at this point. So.
Yeah, no, fair enough, fair point. Colin Lusden, he says, if one of our youngsters turn into another Kane or Bale and offers Enic will sell instead of building the team around them. Look, it's what we've come to see over the last 20 years. You know what I mean? And it's sad times. And, each time, we're like, we take that money, we go get this player, that player, we're looking for Botman and we're looking for Sabitzer. We'll end up signing Ben and Sim for We Are Tottenham TV. You know what I mean? No offense. The boys, I'm sure Ben is a quality player, same as Sim. But, that's what I'm saying. From Sabitzer to Botman to Ben and Sim, that's what's going to happen. But big up Colin Lumsden. Really do appreciate the super chat, my man. But Bob, sorry, go on. I seen you kind of nodding your head when I was asking that question. Is there anyone on the panel that might have a little bit of hope still?
Yeah, I think being delusional and clutching at straws, I've always said this is part and parcel being a Spurs supporter. Very rarely we're realistic. The inconsistencies of the teams above us, having said that, Chelsea have managed to get a bit of form, but there's a loss in there somewhere. Leicester are losing games. Liverpool, they've been inconsistent all season. So, of course, mathematically, there's a chance. Is it realistic? No, but weirder things about. And in the season of inconsistencies, Dave, you just don't know, do you, mate? And like I say, we all need to live in hope. And why not? Why not us? Why not us?
Yeah, why not? What do you think, Matty?
I like to be positive and I like to be optimistic, but it's done. It's over. I mean, to go from sitting in the top 4 while we were 2-1 up against Newcastle last week to 6 points adrift today. It's the worst part about this all. The worst part about this all is the main reason I don't think we will is West Ham. I nearly vomited as I said that. We're too far behind. There's not enough time left. We're not playing well enough. I think the only game that I don't want to say the only game I want us to win for the rest of the season, but the only game I can actually imagine having any sort of active feeling towards is that cup final. I think the league is done. It's about avoiding the European Conference League, maybe Europa League, if it's something we can win next season. I think in a roundabout way, the best thing for us could be potentially dropping down to 9th, 10th, as long as Arsenal are placed below us, just so we can not have Europe next season and give a full proper go at that league and get back into Champions League. But for this season, top 4 is gone, unfortunately. And Mr.
Look, for me, I'm always going to have that little thought in here, that says we can win our next 3 league games. We have a chance with the way the league's going. I'm always going to have that thought. Call me deluded. Yes, I know.
You're deluded.
But ultimately, look, I do think it's gone. If I'm being a realist, I do think it's gone. But nothing will ever stop me from thinking up here. It's possible.
Don't let me down now, mate. Don't let me down now.
You know what? Listen. Mathematically, it's possible. But if my grandmother had wheels, she'd be a wagon. So yeah, it's not happening.
No, but look, lads, I've really enjoyed the show. I am going to end it here now. I just want to give everybody a chance to plug themselves and stuff like that. Plug your channel. We've had over 200 people watching most of the stream. It's been absolutely brilliant. And as well, while the lads are plugging themselves, you, the Harris Army, I want to say a special thank you to you for getting over to the We Are Tottenham TV and showing me your love and your support on my first show today. And I hope everybody enjoyed it. And look, let me know if you enjoyed it as well. But Cody Mack, I know you don't have your own channel, but look, I find you very funny. I find you very entertaining when you're on channels, to be honest with you. I do think you have a lot of great stuff to say. I'm sure there's many people out there like me that think the same. So let them know where they can find you if they want you to appear on their channel.
Yeah, you can reach out to me. I've got my Twitter handle here at ComacDo. And yeah, big up David for doing the pre-match pump. It was great to come on. You know, you did a fantastic job, just like I said. And like you said, it's only going to get better and better as you do it more often. And anybody else, I'll take a chance to plug Will Stewart's channel, because we'll probably be sipping beer and wine later on and
I was
drinking
going
our
to do that
sorrows
in a
down
minute
the well.
anyway.
Yeah, so yeah, absolutely. Make sure you support all the Spurs YouTube family and all the different channels. They all deserve it. They're all great. And I love talking about Tottenham. That's really the only thing I've got. I don't have my own channel, but I just love bants and everything. It's great.
100%. But big up, Cody. Thanks very much for your time, man. I really do appreciate it. I know you have kids and a family there, so I appreciate it, lad. Scotty, where can we find you?
Yeah, so handles at DSM Spurs, as you see there on the screen. My baby is Chicken Ball Pod, all one word, the handle there. Rebrand from Eastbridge USA back in the day. Like I said yesterday, we're going to go at each other, you know, feet on necks or whatever it is towards one another. We're all good buddies. And then I do frequent Podspur TV as well as a panelist. So yeah, you know, check either one out. Chicken Ball, I just put out an episode about an hour ago with a gentleman from Football Fish Pod, which is a fantastic pod, actually, a couple United supporters, and had one of them on, and we broke down the situation. He just lived it 3 years ago with Mourinho. I got a really good perspective from the outside looking in on our situation, and I think it's worth a listen. So keep your eyes peeled for that. But ultimately, you know, make sure that you guys are subscribing to everybody on the screen with me here, because everybody I'm talking to right now is fantastic at what they do. So like, subscribe, all of the above. And David, thanks for having me on as always.
No, big up. Thanks very much for coming on, especially after recording your own podcast. And your podcast is brilliant. I've been on it. I thoroughly enjoyed it as well. Everybody get over, check it out. But big up. Like I said, everybody's description, the links to all their stuff is in the description box below. I have to add Matty's though, because Matty wasn't planned. But Matty, you know, he was tuning in, so he came on, which is brilliant. But just before I get bobspur to plug himself, a super chat here from Osmar. He says, we have the same problem as Liverpool. West Ham plays with motivation, missing one key player, which they got it. This is sad times, 100%. Look, no motivation, no passion, no desire, no bollocks. And that's it at the end of the day. But big up, Osmar. I really do appreciate the super chat. But Bob, you know, your big hit, your new segment is out. Who are you? Absolutely love it. I partook in it yesterday. I can't wait for it to come out as well. And you know, I think it's a great little segment you have there. So let people know where they can find it, and let them know where they can find you.
Yeah, bobspur TV. I've always said look at the lighter things in all things Spurs, but they're making it very difficult of late. Hence the reason that Who Are You segment's just come out. I've got you on it. Cody's already done his. Matt, I'm waiting for you, and Scott, by all means, I'll get in touch and get that done. We've got the day after, the day before show tomorrow with Cody. That should be fun, mate. And then, like I say, it's Spurs related. We've got a few things in the pipeline as well. And just a quick personal thank you to David. Always been there with your kind words and your support. And big up today, mate. You smashed it out of the park with the pump up, the pre-show. We Are Tottenham. Wicked, mate. Wicked. Well done. I
appreciate it, man. I really do. Thank you so much, man. Thanks for the words. And again, you know, thank you for coming on and joining me and making me feel a bit at home. I really do appreciate it. And of course, with the young lad as well, it was good to speak to him and meet him as well, Bob.
Bobspur Junior's a hero in himself, mate. He should have his own channel.
Yeah, no, he should. He is. He's an absolute little legend. Look, guys, and then last but not least, you know, look, it's the guy who helped me get the channel up and running. It's the guy who gave me a massive platform for the success I'm having at the minute. It's the guy who, you know, without him, the Irish Hotspur wouldn't be here. And it's my guy, Matt Hayes. Man, I absolutely love you for everything you've done. You know, I really do appreciate it. I just want to say to everybody, even though I do host the pre-match pump-up, I will still be on the watch-alongs with Matty Hayes for the actual games. Don't worry about that. You know what I mean? I'm not leaving them in that aspect. I've just been given an opportunity that I want to take, and that's all it is. And I really love going on the channel.
Harry Kane.
Matty, sorry?
You're not doing a Harry Kane.
yeah, no, 100%. And look, Matty, let everybody know where they can find you, my man.
Yeah, look, David, thank you for that introduction. I feel like I can't live up to that hype anymore. Look, I do want to say I was at work today, so I couldn't catch that pump-up show, but like I met you before, and I'm 100% sure you absolutely smashed it out of the park. It's a fantastic opportunity, and I'm glad you got that. But look, if you want to find me, Matt Hayes Tottenham blog on YouTube. Scott said he broke down the situation of the Spurs game on his channel today. I just broke down on my channel, so if you do want to go over and watch that, I can guarantee it's a good one. David, of course, was on a while ago as well. Yeah, a fantastic show if you want to check that out. And as well, I'll be on Chicken Ball Pod hopefully soon. And like Bob said, I'll be on the Who Are You quite soon. So make sure to go over and check those guys out as well. But most importantly, smash that subscribe button as hard as you can. I want your phone screen to be obliterated to support the Irish Hotspur here. This guy's going places and you want to make sure you're in that the first group, that audience to support him. So please do smash that subscribe. Make sure to give him all the support that he absolutely deserves. David, thank you for having me on today. I really appreciate it.
No problem at all. And just look, a nice comment on Mr. K here. He says, the Irish Hotspur, remember when you were trying to get 500? Fantastic channel. Look, I do 100%. You know what I mean? I was constantly annoying Matty in his DMs. And, it was just at Christmas time I was trying to get there. And it happened for me Christmas Day. Big up, Mr. K. But honestly, guys, I was just on Matty's stream doing a stream with Martin as well. Absolutely brilliant stream. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Really enjoyed speaking to Martin as well. So everybody, hop over there and check that out. Also, Will Stewart, I like to call it the graveyard shift, but what he does do, it's for you American, you Canadian people over that side of the world up at that time. It's prime. It's prime time, relaxing time for you. Your kids and all be in bed. Get on and show the man some love. Get on and show him the support as well, especially if you need more therapy. But look, that's it here from the Irish Hotspur. Big up Cody, big up Matty, big up Bob. And big up Scotty as well. Absolute legends for giving up their time. I want to say a massive thank you to all the super chatters. You're all legends. You really don't know how much you helped the channel grow. I want to say a massive thank you to the channel members as well. That helps create the fan show. That wouldn't happen without you guys being members and giving up your time to come on as well. And I want to say a massive thank you to you, the Harris Army. Most importantly, for your support on absolutely everything. It's been unbelievable. Look, I know results aren't going our way, but we'll always sit here and talk it through. That's one thing you can guarantee. And for anyone else watching who's not, smash that like button on the stream. Smash that subscribe button. Look, I think it's time to ditch the Ian Jose we trust until we get a new manager, or whether I know Jose is going to be here next season. But look, whoever's here next season, it'll be that manager's name and him we trust anyway. But look, what I want to say is we may have a lot of problems at this club, lads. But look, we all love this club. We love it till we die. And let's just give them the support again next week going into the Everton game. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.